Welcome to Bible Study Together's daily dive into Titus. I'm Peter Schrock, the founder of Bible Study Together and a life and marriage coach at togethertransform.com. We are in week 1 of our study, and this is the 3rd day. In this video, I will be going over the daily questions and the answers. So let's get started. How would you summarize the letter to Titus in 3 sentences or less? Now, I know this can be kind of challenging at times to try and boil the whole thing down, but we've read this a couple times now, probably, going through the book. And so I'm just going to give you mine. I've got it written down, and I'm just going to read it to you here. It says, Titus was written by Paul to give guidance to a church forming in the island of Crete. The letter describes how the transforming grace of God changes people to live in specific ways. It also explains to Titus how he can participate in God's work to help the people become a church where Christians thrive. So yeah, this doesn't have to be super complicated. You just read through it and process down a little bit and try and boil it down into the bigger pictures like this. And when you do that, it gives you this big foundation, which we can kind of create this shelf. And then as we start learning specific things about the things that Paul teaches Titus, we'll have a spot to put it on our shelf. And so we need the big picture first, and then after we kind of get this big picture, we can start getting into the details. So that's why we do this little exercise of trying to sum up the book in 3 sentences or less. How does Paul's overarching message speak to you? I think one of the things that really stands out to me in terms of this overarching message is that Paul is really diving more into how people live their life throughout Titus, rather than focusing so much explicitly on just some kind of theology or something like that. The focus is a lot more on how to live your life. But what's neat about it to me, and what stands out to me particularly, is that he does also give us some key theological pieces in here. And the theology that Paul gives us actually shows us how to live our life. It shows how the working of God actually transforms our life. We see that both in chapter 2 and in chapter 3. Let's just take a quick peek here at chapter 2, and I'll show you an example. So what we can see here is I'm in Titus 2, and I'm looking starting in verse 11. It says, "For the grace of God has appeared, bringing salvation for all people, training us to renounce ungodliness and worldly passions, and to live self-controlled, upright, and godly lives in the present age, waiting for our blessed hope, the appearing of the glory of our great God and Savior Jesus Christ, who gave himself for us to redeem us from all lawlessness and to purify for himself a people for his own possession who are zealous for good works." So you see here in this passage, what we see is that God's grace is the thing that's at work in us, and that grace, that favor, is actually teaching us, and the end product of it is for us to live a godly life. You can also see more about this in chapter 3, but we'll be getting more into these different chunks of things as we dive deeper into the chapters. So today we're just hitting the broader picture, and this is just a short set of questions today. But the big thing is we just want to keep laying this foundation, building our shelf so that we can fit these details in Titus up on them. So this is it. You guys have finished day 3 of our study on Titus. So I'll see you tomorrow.